Almighty Father, I believe. Do you believe?
Yes, I believe.
You created heaven and earth. Do you believe?
Yes, I believe.
I believe in Jesus Christ. Do you believe?
Yes, I believe.
Everlasting Son of God. Do you believe?
Yes, I believe. Oh, yes, I believe in the Father and the Son.
A warm welcome to you, our dear viewer, and thank you so much for joining us on our today's platform of My Catholic Faith with Father Athan Tembla. I'm your presenter, Josephine Musonda. On this episode, we want to look at September as a biblical and the month of creation. And Father Athan is already in the studio to help us understand more about this month of September and the activities that are going to take place. Father, I'm delighted to have you back on this platform.
Thank you very much. I'm always happy to be here.
My pleasure. We are looking at September to be the month of, biblical month and the season of creation. Maybe just Henry, try and explain the background of why is September we are supposed to celebrate the two feasts. Should I call them feasts?
Not necessarily. Let us just call them seasons.
Seasons.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So we have the season of creation and the biblical season.
Okay. All right.
But the official terminologies should be September as the season of creation and September as a biblical or Bible month.
All right.
If you like. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I know it is a question that many people ask when September comes.
Mm-hmm.
Why is September season of creation? Why September biblical month? Mm-hmm. Why not any other month? Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, there is a reason why we have September. We have these two things in September. The celebration of the Bible has been there for many centuries. Yeah, as far back as none of us can remember. Yeah, because Catholic theology is biblical. It's centered on the Bible. Of course, there is also the sacred tradition side of it. But from the biblical point of view, the Bible has been celebrated in many different forms. Even the biblical month, as we are calling it, has been there. Just that maybe this is something that not many people have been paying attention to. Yeah. But I think it's important that when a period like this comes, September, we pay particular attention to it and we celebrate it as it is supposed to be celebrated, being biblical month. You and I must know very well that the feast of St. Jerome, okay? Feast of St. Jerome is of particular importance in the church. This feast of St. Jerome is towards the end of September. I think it should be 30th September actually. And the celebration of September as Bible month is attached actually to that feast.
Okay.
Why the feast of St. Jerome, why is it so that important and attached to the biblical month? Jerome is a biblical scholar that gave us the Latin Vulgate. Now, the Latin Vulgate is the Latin version of the Bible. So Jerome translated the Bible from Greek, because the Bible in the first place was never in Latin. It was in Hebrew, then Greek. But then the church became more and more Latin in the early centuries, the 4th century to be specific. The church was becoming more and more Latin, such that even in liturgical celebrations, it was like unavoidable to use Latin. In fact, Latin became the official language of the church in liturgy and in many other formal gatherings of the church. So it became imperative to have the Latin Vulgate, which is the Latin version of the Bible. And St. Jerome is the one that started working on this particular version. So that is translation. Translating the Bible from Greek to Latin. And because of that, of course, many other languages were later, introduced. Of course, we have the Catholic Bible and what we call the Protestant Bible. Those that we call Catholic Bibles emanated from the Latin Vulgate, from the Latin translation of the Bible. Yeah. So Jerome holds a very important place in the church, if you like, because of that particular activity that he performed for the church. And so when we celebrate his feast on 30th September, the church sat down and said, okay, for us to really have a good celebration of this biblical person, this biblical scholar who translated the whole Bible from what it was to the Latin Vulgate, which gave birth to many other translations that we are using now. For us to celebrate him or celebrate his day, why don't we dedicate the whole month preceding that date to just the study of the Bible? So it was decided that the whole month of September would be referred to as the biblical month, so that as we close the month, we close it on that special feast of St. Jerome. And that would make sense. Like, okay, so we've been studying the Bible the whole month of September. Now, today, we are closing the month as we celebrate this biblical person, this biblical scholar who did A, B, C, D.
Right.
So it would make more sense like that. And so it was established that way. That's just in brief why we want to, or why we celebrate September as the biblical month.
Yes.
There's also
as a month of creation.
The month of creation, yeah. The
season of creation.
The season of creation. Again, the world has been celebrating creation for many years, for many centuries. But the church sat down and said, okay, why don't we have September as the season of creation, especially that as September just ends, we are already getting into the vibe of celebrating St. Francis of Assisi.
Yes.
Who is the saint of nature. Yeah. You know the feast of St. Francis of Assisi is on the 4th of October. Is it 4th of October? I'm not mistaken. 4th. Yeah. So, as we get closer to that important feast of this saint, of this person who held nature as something very close to his heart, why don't we have the month that precedes that feast dedicated to nature, dedicated to creation? And so the World Day of Prayer for creation, which has always been there, was established. I think it should have been 2019 by Pope Francis. It was established that this World Day of Prayer for creation would be opening to the season of creation. So we celebrate this day on the 1st of September, opening the season of creation. And this season of creation would go on until it closes with the feast of St. Francis of Assisi, who is the saint of nature.
Okay.
So, in brief, that is what we can say as a connection between September and the two things: creation and the Bible.
All right, Father. There are a number of activities that, of course, we expect that they are going to happen during this month, most especially concerning the biblical kind of. And there is this what we call enthronement of the Bible. What does it mean?
Okay, that's a very good question. Enthronement of the Bible. When let's look at it this way. When there's an enthronement of a king, the king in a particular kingdom is being enthroned, is being put on a throne. What are they doing? They are, first of all, giving importance. They are giving significance or amplifying importance, the importance of this person. But this person is not just any other person. This person is a special person in this community. So when we enthrone this person, we put them in a special seat. It's actually a throne. We we put this person in that seat. What we are saying is this person occupies a special place in this community. So let's look at the enthronement of the Bible with that concept in mind. When the Bible is being brought in church, in a procession, because actually even the enthronement of the king begins with a procession and all that and everything else that is attached to it. So the Bible is being brought in a procession. Already that is attracting attention. The people gathered in that church, that community, in that audience, in that assembly should shift their focus from anything else to what is being brought. And in this case, the Word of God. And of course, the Word of God is already important even without you saying it. Okay? The Word of God is already important. But when we talk about enthronement, we are reminding ourselves that the Word of God is central in our life. We cannot gather here and talk about God, talk about Jesus without having the Bible in hand, because everything that we have to know about God, about Jesus, is written in this book. So this book is the manual of our Christian life. So as we bring it in the procession and as we put it in front there, in a special place, in a throne, okay, or on a throne, a special place prepared around the sanctuary, what we are saying is, this book we have put here is not any other book. It is not a novel. It is not a newspaper. It is not a magazine. This is the Word of God. And God is present in His Word as He talks to us. And so this book, since it is not any other book, has to have a special place. Now, when we are doing enthronement of the Bible, we are not just physically enthroning the Bible in a physical place. That now has to be understood from a spiritual perspective, in a spiritual sense, that as we enthrone the Bible, as we put the Bible in that special place, this Bible should also assume a special place in our hearts. So we are doing two enthronements, if you like. We are doing the first enthronement is that physical enthronement that we're able to perceive. We see people bringing the Bible. We have seen a place prepared where the Bible is going to be put. But what we are also doing at the same time is enthroning the Bible in our hearts, meaning that in this my heart, there should be a special place for this Word of God, which has to be my guide in my Christian life, in my spiritual growth. This Word of God has to be something I move around with wherever I go. It's not something apart from me. It is something that is a part of me. It is attached to me. So wherever I go, I move with it. So the enthronement of the Bible is not just what is happening in church. It is also what is happening in my heart, in my life. This Bible occupies a special place, not just in church, but also in my heart. So it's very important. People should pay attention when, sometimes people don't pay attention. When we are enthroning the Bible, many people look at it as just one of those activities that we do in the church. We move on to to other things. No. Pay attention to what is going on. Pay attention to what is being said as the Bible is being enthroned. Now imagine that enthronement of the Bible is also happening in your heart. Enthrone the Bible in your heart, meaning let the Bible occupy a special place in your heart so that it becomes your everyday guide in your spiritual growth. Suffices also to mention that the enthronement of the Bible might be done in different ways, depending on where you are. Yeah. The prayers that could be said could be different depending on where you are, depending on what the liturgical committee has prepared. But what is common everywhere is the activity, the concept of enthronement. Yeah. Maybe in that parish, children are the ones that will be given to bring the Bible. Yes. In another parish, maybe Wabombe Balalet. In another parish, maybe the liturgical chairperson. In another diocese, maybe the priest is going to bring. In another place in the world, maybe the deacon is going to find. So those things you can play around with those things, depending on where you are and what speaks to the life of the people where you are. But what is happening everywhere as that activity is happening is that we are giving the Bible a special place. Not just that physical special place, but also a spiritual place in our hearts.
Okay. Now, Father, how can we now combine the two, month of the Bible and the season of creation? Why? You've already explained the background of why these two seasons happen in this month of September. So how can we combine them? Why should we bring in the season of creation in this?
It is possible to combine the two. How do we combine them? We need to find a point of meeting for the two. Yeah. Well, you may want to have them run parallel, one running this, but it is important to see one in the other. When you talk about creation and talk about the Bible, you know that we are already talking about Genesis. Yeah, Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2. Everybody has read the creation stories. You know that God creates, God brings into being what was not by his own power. And finally, he creates a human being. Yeah. So when you talk about creation, we're talking about something that is biblical. That is already a meeting point. That is already a combination, a point of combination, if you like. The two have already met there. Now, let me also mention that when you talk about creation, because, it's very easy for us to think of Chimuti, Ichulu, Amenshi, whatever. Yes. When you talk about creation, we're talking about everything that is, everything that exists, including a human being. A human being is part of creation. So, we're not talking about something that is apart from us. We're talking about something that is part of us. Creation is ourselves. And when you talk about taking care of creation, we are also talking about taking care of ourselves as human beings as part of creation. In Genesis, in the two creation stories, God creates a human being, okay? Just as he creates other things. But there's a difference. When he creates a human being, he puts into this human being his breath for this human being to have life. We say a human being is created in the image and likeness of God. He shares something special with a human being. And it is for that reason that God decides to put a human being as the in charge of creation. He says, you are going to take care of everything that is created. A human being is given amafunde if you are going to do this. That tree don't touch because of ABCD. There will be consequences. There, don't go. There, a human being is given instructions because this human being is a custodian. This human being is a steward of creation. That's why Pope Francis in the document Laudato Si talks about human being as the steward of creation. Everything that is created is under the leadership of a human being. What does that mean? It means human being should ensure that what is created is protected. What is created is taken care of. And that is what it means for this human being to be a steward, to be a custodian, but also, and most importantly, to be a co-creator. It's a rare privilege. It's only a human being that has been given this privilege by God, to be a co-creator. Because this human being has the faculty of free will. As the faculty of free will, you can choose to uproot this tree and put it elsewhere. You can choose to destroy this earth if you want to destroy and all that. You have the faculty of free will as a human being. Now, this faculty is not for you to abuse. It is a faculty to help you take care of what has been put under you, the whole of creation. And Pope Francis in Laudato Si says, if a human being abuses his free will to take care of creation, creation does what? Reacts back. Creation begins to react. And you and I are today suffering the consequences of the irresponsibility of some human beings somewhere. Because creation is doing what? Is fighting back. Creation is fighting back in form of droughts, what else is there? Earthquakes, whatever else is there. That is creation reacting because a human being has been irresponsible. Like what this German philosopher says, his name is Friedrich Nietzsche. I know many people don't like Friedrich Nietzsche because he never liked God. He's a pagan philosopher. But there's something that he says about creation, about nature. Friedrich Nietzsche says, nature is good, but it has a disease called man. Yeah. Nature is good. Everything that is there is good, but Yalikwata obulwele. Obulwele muntu.
The one who is supposed to be in charge.
Exactly. Yeah. And if a human being continues to be a disease, then nature knows how to sort him out, or also how to sort us out. Yeah. So coming back to your question, it is important for us to link the two, because like we have already said, we cannot talk about creation without talking about the Bible. And immediately you are reading the Bible, you are introduced to the aspect of creation. You are introduced to even how human being is supposed to sustain what is created. So the two, not coincidentally, but I think have been planned in a way that they coexist in the same month. Season of creation and the Bible, biblical month, deployment of the Bible, that they coexist in the same month, and they are celebrated in the same month because of that special link that they have.
Right, Father. Only the explanation concerning how the biblical month is supposed to be celebrated practically, you did point out how different celebrations can take place from different parishes. Do we have a practical way of celebrating the season of creation? What are we expected to do like?
See, for me, I think the season of creation is something that can be celebrated in a very simple manner. We don't even have to kill ourselves about having a list of activities. No, something that every individual, every person can take upon at an individual level. Let me give you just an example. For example, you're walking around, okay, minding your own business. Maybe you're going to the market, and then yeah, somebody threw it. You pick that and you throw it in the bin. That is a very practical way of celebrating the season of creation. Whatever you find lying around as debt, as somebody irresponsible just left it there, you find it, pick it, and throw it in the bin. Freeze it.
Yes.
Freeze it. That plastic, what do you do with that plastic? What do you do with it? Some people are going to just throw it anyhow, anywhere, wherever they feel like. But as a way of celebrating the season of creation, what do? You look for a bin. If you can't find it where you are, put that plastic in the pocket or in the bag until you find a bin, wherever you are going. I know that wherever you are going, there's going to be something that will look like a bin. There's going to be a bin.
Yes.
Put that plastic where? In your bag or in your pocket until you find a bin. You know, sometimes I wonder, when sometimes you are driving, okay, and then you just see people and you bus throwing things through the out of the window. Even if then you're wondering. So, one way of celebrating the season of creation is to be responsible. You finish eating your banana, you finish eating your oranges, those things that you don't eat. What do you do with them? Put them in your bag until you find a bin. Those are very practical ways of commemorating, celebrating the season of creation. And this is not the attitude only for September. It is something that we have to learn to be doing every day. It's not like, no, now September is done, let's go back to default settings. No.
Yes.
It is something that you have to be doing every day. Naba namuleba kalipira. Mwana apusha kudya sweet, aposa kapepala, kumu kalipira. You don't do that. You throw that thing in a bin. And that is how we are going to change the mentality of ourselves, even of those that are coming after us. We cannot end up with a clean environment, with a well-protected environment, if we don't change the mentality. If I throw something anyhow, it should make me feel guilty. If I don't feel any guilty, then there's something wrong with me. It should trouble me, it should bother me that have done that particular thing,
Yes,
because it
certainly.
is wrong. Yes.
Yes, Father, talking about children as we conclude with our session here, there is this tendency, most especially within our churches, whereby this parent comes with a child, bought the jiggies for their children. Just your appeal to us, the parents out there on weekend, on how we can take care of this season of creation, most especially your words of appeal.
For me, it's just all about teaching the kids what should be done, and I think that is what is lacking. For me, I don't blame kids. Are kids, yeah, they are young and their understanding of things is not as mature as adults. So a kid will throw a paper of sweet or whatever anywhere, paper of jiggies in church, even at the altar. I mean, they are just a kid. But then it is the responsibility of a parent to inculcate some values in that child. To sit down with that child and say, this you can't do, this you can do. And when a parent says it, kid is going to obey. Kids always say, Mom said, Dad said, the teacher said. Because what the parent says, what the teacher says at school is what should be followed. But if the parent or the teacher doesn't say anything, that kid will continue doing whatever they're doing, believing, thinking it is the correct. So those children that you bring to mass, to church, lollipop,
Yes.
whatever, you give them those things. Those kids are not going to eat everything. They will not eat paper like you. They will not. Those things will have to end up somewhere. And that should be an opportunity for you as a parent to teach now your kids or the children that you have. If you are an animator, you have early childhood, that is an opportunity for you to sit them down and say, these things that you are not going to eat, pepala and all that, you don't just throw them anyhow. Kids are going to obey. Unless just those kids who are very stubborn. They always be one or two. But kids, you can kids are teachable. In short, kids are teachable. Yeah. Kids are teachable. Let us ensure that we teach our kids. Teach them the correct thing. Those things that if people tell them this you can't throw here. You can only throw in that bin in that place. And tomorrow when you're not there, they're going to do exactly what you have said. But if they are throwing things around and you're not saying anything, they will always throw things around because that is what they believe is the correct.
Father, thank you so much. Act upon the words that you have taught us.
I hope so.
Indeed, we are going to do that. I believe even our viewers out there who are listened to this program will do devise some programs at church to see how best we can celebrate this season of creation. And this is where we have come to the end of today's episode of My Catholic Faith. I invite you to join us again next week as we bring another exciting and educative topic. From me, Josephine Sonda, on behalf of Father Arthur Ntembla and the crew in the studio, we just wish you God's blessings as we celebrate this Bible man. Bye-bye.
Mighty Father.